Townsend plays on, plays to the whistle, kicks away for Valentine. Townsend! I love it, game.
All right, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Chad Townsend Show. And today's episode, as always, is brought to you by playersgolfclub.com.au. Shop the new merch, the Club Championships collection. You see I'm wearing it at the moment, the new hat, the new T-shirt. We're celebrating golf clubs around the country and the Club Championships. So we've got some polos, T-shirts, hats, a towel. So make sure you check it out, playersgolfclub.com.au. Now, today's guest, someone who I've wanted to get on the show for quite a while. He does like radio and speaking just like myself. He's one of the Cowboys, in my opinion, greatest ever players, still playing the old bags himself. Kyle Feldt, mate, welcome. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you, Chad. Fellow old bags too. It's great to be here. Like you said, we've been talking about it for a while, and it's finally great to actually do it.
We have, mate. We actually did a speaking course together too, didn't we?
Yeah, storytelling course.
Storytelling.
That was quite eventful. Obviously, trying to tell a story that I knew that I'd done, and you'd have obviously done as well, and trying to get the listeners to understand how we wanted them to, I guess, see the story get told.
You've done a bit of podcasting. You had the Felty Files, which you've interviewed a few players, mate. Tell me a bit about that.
Yeah, so that was obviously just a little stepping stone getting into radio, and I was very lucky that team in Townsville here, Southern Cross Stereo, wanted me to start something, I guess, to transition outside of footy, and never really thought about doing any radio stuff until that day. And once I did that, I think you were one of my first people on the podcast, and it was pretty cool to, I guess, see the way that you approached it and the way that you could talk about, I guess, your life outside of football, and to get the listeners engaged. And it was really cool, and I learned a lot of things about that. I only did it probably, I think it was 12 players all up, and I got a really good report about it all, and a lot of people wanted more of it, but unfortunately with footy commitments that was a bit too hard, so we had to put that on the back burner. So, but yeah, it was fun.
And you do stuff with the radio, don't you? Is it weekly?
Yeah, weekly, yeah.
Yeah,
so,
how does that work?
Yeah, it's just through the club, and then I started this year with going an extra day in, doing my own little segment with Kate Jabolt in there on Triple M, so it's pretty cool, something different. Like I said, still transitioning life outside of footy. I want to get into that sort of stuff after, which is going to be a really fun transition, but obviously really hard as well.
Yeah,
haven't done anything other than football my whole career, and that's something that I want to do. I like to spin a yarn to people, and I don't know, I'm just love talking and blabbering on about crap.
We'll get into that a little bit more later on. But mate, I want to take it back because like your story, like I'm looking at it this morning, and obviously know you quite well. But mate, you grew up in Townsville. Mate, talk to me about, I guess, growing up in Townsville. Like, when did you start playing footy?
Yeah, born and bred Townsville. Started playing footy for the North Devils out at Bushland Beach. I think I was 5. Got halfway through the year and I got told I wasn't allowed to play because I was too young. So we were at junior league and had to produce a birth certificate to say that I was underage. And yeah, we ended up going back the next year. And so I started officially when I was 6. So pretty cool. Played all my junior league at North Devils until maybe, I think I was 13. And then stopped playing and went into school footy, and yeah, and then that's when everything kind of started getting really serious.
What were your best memories of junior football? Because I look back at my junior footy and I'm really lucky that the boys I play with in my juniors are still my best mates today. Like, do you have fond memories of being a youngster playing footy in Townsville?
A lot of the fellas I played with out there have gone down a completely different path to me. So I don't really keep in touch with most of them, but there is a few that I keep in touch with. But yeah, fondest memories of back then is probably, I think every Thursday night we'd always train late. Like, we'd finish around, I reckon, 7:30, and there was an old shipping container at the ground where we used to pack all our post pads, tackle pads, and all that sort of stuff away, and we used to just run around in that shipping container, play Tiggy and that. And then one day we started playing like 1-2-3 home base, and that was like the home base, and there was massive scrubland out behind where we trained, and we used to just run through there for hours. I think one night Dad was at the bar, like just having a yarn because he used to run the bar there. He was working, and they closed the bar at like 10 o'clock, and I was like still running around Thursday night, like 10-year-old kid, past bedtime. Mum's wondering where we are, and yeah, just looking back now, I'm like, that's the things I enjoy most about my growing up playing footy is just like the camaraderie I had with all my teammates back then, and just the fun I had outside of footy and making life enjoyable.
Yeah, I definitely can second that. It sounds exactly like my childhood, running around late at night, footy, playing just games, everything. Mate, you grew up in Townsville, as you said. Mate, did you support the Cowboys when you were a kid, and who was your favourite player?
I didn't really support them, to be honest. I was a massive Canberra Raiders fan.
Really? Why?
Yeah, Canberra milk. No. Mum was a massive Canberra fan, and she always loved watching them. So I remember growing up watching them. But I think it was about maybe 7 or 8, I started really following the Cowboys. And then obviously Matty Bowen, he was one of my favourite players. Paul Bowman, Big Bear, he's still at the club now. So it's pretty surreal, obviously going to training and seeing him still there. And there was a fella called Reggie Cresbrook. He was a fullback for the Cowboys in the early years when I was supporting him. And he was wasn't like a massive name player, but was a really good player. And I looked up to him. He was pretty good. He played when Mango wasn't playing, so he was probably one of the first Cowboys I ever met. And then obviously when Jono come around and Thumper and that, started to get along with them. And I was very fortunate enough to play quite a few years with Jono and Thumper. Played 1 year with Mango, and it's pretty cool. Like obviously growing up in Townsville, you have your own sport. You get one rugby league team in Townsville, and it does take up, I guess, a lot of supporters and that. And there is a lot of diehard fans here. And being a Cowboy now, you actually see how much they love their team. So it's pretty cool.
You spoke before about going to school, mate. Something I've really actually probably known since I've been in town is like Townsville's got pretty good schools for rugby league. Pretty well known, like, you know, the big ones, I guess, Kerwin and Iggy Park. And when I remember when I was in school, you hear about those schools, mate. What school did you go to, and did school have an effect on your rugby league, and what was it?
I went to Ignatius Park College. I didn't go there. I started off in St. Anthony's College out at Jensen there where I grew up. They were a new school. I went there for 2 years. I was the first grade 8s to go through, so I was there literally running around in dirt, no grass. We didn't even have an oval for the first year. And then second year come around, I was there playing school footy. Me versus Ryan Catholic College, and a fellow by the name Dave Elliott was there watching, because Ryan go to confraternity shield that they play against all like the Christian Brothers teams and that. And he come up to me and said, "Oh, have you ever thought about changing schools and coming to Ignatius Park?" And I never even thought about it. Didn't even ask Mum and Dad, and I just said, "Yeah, mate, I'd love to go there." So I was like, "Yeah, sweet." Went home and told Mum and that, and I think 3 weeks later, Mum and Dad had an interview at Iggy Park and moved to Iggy, and that's when I think my footy really kicked off. I stopped playing, like I said earlier, I stopped playing local league, and I just focused on school footy. And I remember having a conversation with one of my teachers. I was failing a class, can't remember what it was. And she goes, "You need to have something to fall back on because you're not going to be an NRL player." And to this day, I still play that over and over in my head and think, if only you knew, love, if only you knew. But like Ignatius Park College was really big for me. I'm an old boy there. I do go back a little bit, which is pretty cool. And I was one of the inaugural players to win the Confraternity Shield for them too in 2008.
Yeah, awesome.
Pretty mad.
Nice little throwback. Mate, was that the age, like, or when you switched to Iggy, was that like when you were like, I guess, hey, like, I'm actually good at football, I want to play in the NRL? Was that like the moment where you were like, I actually want to play NRL?
Nah. I think when I was young, like, I think I was about 11 or 12 when I made my first representative team. Like, I think it was Queensland schoolboys. And that's when I knew that I wanted to be an NRL player. Like, I used to watch all the footy growing up and that, and then and then I think when I did go to Iggy, it kind of became a little bit surreal, because that's when a lot of NRL clubs started to look at me and produce some offers and that. And I nearly went down to Melbourne when early on in my career. So pretty lucky. A fellow by the name of Peter Jones approached Mum and Dad and spoke about the Cowboys. So it's pretty lucky.
That was actually a question I was going to ask you down the track, because I had Michael Morgan on a while ago, and I asked, he obviously played his whole career at the Cows. I said, mate, did you ever get a chance to leave the Cows? And he's like, not really. Like, I did, but I always wanted to stay. Like, you know, is there other times you've had chances to leave and nearly thought about it, or?
Yeah, there's obviously the first time when I was 15, get that first offer from Melbourne. Really thought about going there, and looking back at it now, I'm glad I didn't.
Yep.
And then probably 2019, just before I signed a 4-year deal here, Parramatta approached me. They were chasing a winger, and I had pretty extensive talks with them. Met Brad Arthur a couple of times, my manager, on the phone to him quite regularly about it all, and kind of like similar to Morgo, summed up situations like living down there, going from such a really tight-knit community, a lovely town, leaving my family. My partner and I, my wife and I had been, I think we were nearly engaged, I think. And then, and I just like summed everything up, pros and cons, and the pros of, I guess, leaving didn't outweigh the cons. So I, end up staying, which to me has been a great blessing in disguise.
Beautiful. We'll go back to just Iggy as we sort of go through along your journey. Mate, how was your transition out of high school? Like, did you go straight into NRL, or did you have a job? And what was that like?
Straight up footy brain, mate. Went straight into footy, under 20s. Had to have a job. I was very lucky enough. I worked for a lady called Lisa McDonald. She ran an auto care company here. It was called Patrick's Auto Care. So she was my boss for like 3 years there. And then they kind of shut down because they'd get cars from like your Toyotas and that on boats over to here and all that sort of stuff. And you have to put like bull bars and all that sort of crap on them. And they kind of went quiet. And I said, I'm going to go elsewhere for a job for a couple of months. When you get more work, ring me back up. I ended up going up and working at the dam, digging out the dam in Townsville here. Got my crane ticket, loader ticket, and excavator ticket up there, and I was digging sand from 5 to 5.
And then going to training after?
Juggling training in the morning and in the afternoon.
Yeah.
It was big days, but back then, 18, 19, 20-year-old kid, I was getting good cash in the hand up there, so I didn't care how long I worked. I bought fancy cars and I was living a lavish life. And once the 20s finished, I went straight into NRL and, haven't really looked back.
Do you think that, because I was the same, I left school, I went to 20s, I worked and studied. Some kids leave school and go straight into NRL, like without even having a job. Do you think, the maybe year or two or however long it was of working that 5 to 5, grinding, training before in the morning, then going to work, then training in the afternoon, like the part-timers do, the younger kids. Do you think that sort of helped you like understand how grateful you are to play the NRL? Yeah,
definitely gave me, looking at now how privileged I am to actually play NRL and do the things that I can do in my spare time when I do have spare time. That first 3 years of waking up before the sun rose, going back to bed, 13, 14-hour day, long. Looking at it now, I'm like, I don't even know how I've done it. Like, it's crazy. I look at all the young kids now in the club, that under 20s, under 19s. I'm thinking, far out, boys, put in the hard yards now. You'll reap the rewards later if you stick to it. But like you said, it gave me a very a good outlook on life and an appreciation for what I did sacrifice. Like growing up, I never went to parties, never done anything like that sort of stuff. I just solely focused on rugby league. I was a fixed mindset, I guess you could say. Just wanted to be a rugby league player, NRL player, and be successful at it so I can make a career and, self-sufficient living as well. So. Love that focus.
Mate, you spoke briefly about your 20s, time in the 20s, your junior career. You guys were stacked in your 20s. Tell me a bit about, the junior career and the guys you sort of you came through with in the under 20s.
Yeah, so my first year was 2010, I think it was. We had a pretty star-studded team. I played the James Segarra was in there, Michael Morgan, Ray Thompson, a fellow named Chris Faust, Moses Pangai, I think was there. We had a fair few fellas that went on to play NRL out of that team. And then the following year, 2011, we made the grand final and lost it that year. And even that year, I think there was like 12 or 11 players out of that team that went on to play NRL, and one of the biggest names out of that team, Jason Tamalolo, he's still running around now, and I'm very lucky enough to play like nearly my whole career with him, so it's pretty cool to see how far me and him have come along.
Yeah, isn't he? Hasn't he? When it's all said and done, won't he go down as one of the best?
He's going to be the Cameron Smith of the Cowboys.
Yeah.
If he keeps going the way he's going, he's going to play 300 plus for us.
Mate, 2011, you said you guys made the NYC Grand Final. Also in 2011, Kyle Feldt and Chad Townsend meet proper for the first. We played against each other, but we both played. People may not know this. We both played junior kangaroos together.
Yeah, we did.
Mate,
2011.
Yeah,
we were
tell us.
Talking about this the other day.
Yeah, I know. Tell us about that experience.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't even know I made the team because we played the grand final, and then it was like a week later. I think after everything simmered down, I got a phone call and said that I'd made the team, and I was like, "That's pretty cool." Like, never even thought about playing for like junior roos around then. And then walk into, I think it was Parramatta Sydney was the thing it was, and walk in there, and everyone was sitting down eating, and first thing he said to me, he's like, "Feldy, how'd you miss a kick?" And I was like, "Oh, Chad, yeah, Kyle, how you going, mate?"
Did I say that?
Yeah,
that's shit of
me. It was. Who cares? I didn't care. But it was funny, like, and from then, obviously, we played against each other for many years, and now, what is it? Our third year.
Yeah.
Third year. Old bags together.
Yeah, mate, that's crazy memories. I can't believe how quick it's gone, actually. 2011, we had a stacked team back then. I'm thinking, who else was in the team? Yeah, we did get pumped, actually. Jace was playing for the Kiwis.
Jace was playing for Kiwis.
I'm trying to think who else was in there. Aaron Woods, Cam King, Dale Finucane.
James Blair.
Yep. Tao Mogue was there.
Boyd Cordner. It was a stacked team.
And we got done, I think there was, I don't even know if the Kiwis, actually Jason might have been the one or two of the guys that they had NRL.
Conrad Harrell.
Yeah, we had heaps of guys that played NRL. I think.
A few NRL captains in our team too.
Yeah. Mate, so 2011, the Junior Kangaroos, we just spoke about that. Your last year of under 20s. 2013, you make your NRL debut and also win Rookie of the Year. Tell me about your NRL debut. How'd you find out? How did it happen during the week, and who'd you play?
I think all the cards just fell in my hand in the right order, I guess. Like, had a royal flush, if you're talking that. That's pretty lucky.
Royal flush.
Poor old Ash Graham, still at the club. He got injured, and he ended up retiring that year. He had to get career-ending surgery on his wrist. So, yeah, that's how I fell into NRL, basically. I was playing Northern Pride all year up there, playing good footy. Neil Henry come up to me, I think it was the Tuesday of the game against the Rabbitohs at home. And he just goes to me and goes, "What are you doing this weekend?" And I said, "Playing Pride, mate, getting ready to go." He goes, "No, I think getting ready to play NRL." And I was like, "Holy shit, like, what?" I was taken back, didn't think it'd happen that soon, and I was 21 years old. Just my heart sunk. Didn't know what to say, didn't know what to do. Walked over to my locker, rang mum, dad straight away, and just said, "We're playing this weekend." Mum was stoked. Dad was standard chain, just, "Oh, congrats, mate." Off we went. And I was like, "Yeah, cool." So, and the lead up to that debut it happened so fast. Like, looking back at it now, I found out Tuesday. We played Saturday night at 7:30, I think it was, against the Rabbits, like I said, and it come around so fast. I didn't even, like, looking back at it now, I can't remember what I did during the week and that. And
You remember the game?
Vaguely.
Did you just win?
But yeah, we won. We won on a 3-game win streak, actually.
Yep.
I chased down Nathan Merritt. He got a breakaway and I run him down. Claim to fame. He was fast.
Yeah.
I was a chubby old winner. And got him. So, but yeah, it was ended up winning that game, and I didn't score, unfortunately. I didn't score until game 2 against Penrith down there.
Yep.
Off a first ever try in NRL was a kick off Jono.
Yeah.
Chuffed.
Yeah, nice. That's a good one.
And then I think my second try was off Mango.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah. So
combo.
first 2 tries off Cowboys greats. So.
How were you as a younger player, coming into the NRL, trying to establish yourself? Did you put a lot of pressure on yourself, or were you like quite confident and comfortable, or were you just like focused on wanting to do well?
I was confident, but also a lot of pressure on myself. I was confident in my own ability, but in the same token of breath, I was always putting pressure on myself to be better. I guess any successful NRL player that you look at is always striving to be better. Yep. And from an early age, I never really seen it to the extent I do now. I think it come with age and maturity, seeing how much, I guess, professionalism goes a long way in an NRL career. When I was younger, I don't listen to these kids. I never done recovery. I hated it. Never done an ice bath. Turned 26 and loved them. Just realised that you got to look after yourself off the field more than on the field. So, but yeah, like looking back at it now, I was definitely not a professional.
It is a learning curve, though.
Yeah.
I think all players go through it. Like, you understand that when you're young, like, you're happy to be there because you're young, you've achieved your goals. But I don't think you understand the actual professionalism. You're right.
You take it for granted.
Yeah.
Like you're taking everything for granted. And I've seen players come in, play 3 NRL games, then just get rissoled or get injured, and you never see them ever again.
Yep. I definitely understand what you're saying. Mate, what would you say to younger players now who come into the game about handling the pressure? Because in my opinion, like, I think there's more pressure on players now more than ever. And obviously it's thanks to, media, social media, access to players, etc., and how and the ability to handle that. So, some of our young guns who, for people who may not know, those under 19s players who are in that program who are going to hopefully progress to the Cowboys one day. What would you say to some of those guys about, handling the pressure as they come into NRL?
I think just be yourself. Like a lot of kids coming into systems and that, they tend to try and be someone they're not, I think. Like there's a young kid, Jackson Purdue, in our squad now. I think he's 18 or 19. And he is just someone that has his head screwed on and is himself. Like, he honestly holds himself to the highest regard, which is great for a young kid. And to see him play the trial against the Broncos, he played his own game. He didn't try and do anything spectacular. And that's all I guess I can say is, like, be yourself. Don't listen to the outside noise. That's the hardest thing, I guess, with social media these days. When we were growing up, social media was kind of just starting. We were very lucky. Mobile phones were not even massive, so we were pretty cool. But now, like I said, you got media outlets that can access you 24/7. Social media that's obviously in your face 24/7. All I can say is just don't listen to the outside noise. Like, run your own race. Put on the blinkers, as a horse jockey would say, and just stay in your own lane, brother.
Yeah. Love that. Mate, you briefly spoke before about Jono and Mango, and, you've been able to play with some of the greats of not only the Cowboys but the whole NRL. How was it playing with those guys? Jono, Matty Scott, Coops, Mango. Did they have a big impact on you and your football?
So from the start, looking at it now, I guess I took it for granted, especially Mango. I only played 3 games with him. Very fortunate enough to play 3 games with him, but looking at it now, I wish I spoke to him more about rugby league instead of life and like what he's accomplished and all that sort of stuff. But he did help me a lot with obviously positioning stuff. He wasn't really a winger, but he could tell, like, he could help you out about positioning on kick returns and all that sort of stuff. So it was pretty cool. But Jono was probably the biggest one. He had, like, learning the way that he was a professional, kind of watching from the outside, watching him go about his business, and for him to do it for so long, and I can understand why and how he done it for so long. So he was probably one of the people that I learned a lot of about being professional. And then footy-wise, none of them really taught me too much because Jono's a 7, Thumper's a front rower. I'm not taking any advice from Thumper about catching high balls.
They're all middle forwards or halves, yeah.
No, but they, like, in their own right, they did talk about, like, I guess, rugby league and moments in games, and when it does come your way, you have to obviously own your moment. And
yeah, of course, yeah.
I've had a few moments in my career that have fortunately gone my way in that, and some moments that haven't. So, but yeah, which is pretty cool.
Just one that we will get to in a second. But, mate, as we do record this, you're equal with Mango Matty Bowen for the highest tries ever scored by a Cowboy. You're about to be the new record holder, mate. How does that make you feel as a Townsville kid to actually have the record for most tries ever scored by a Cowboy and to overtake Mango?
Yeah, to be honest, Chad, I've never really thought about it. Going into the start of the year, people were obviously talking about it heaps, and like it's just outside noise. I wasn't really listening too much, and then when I did score that first try against the Dolphins, kind of sunk in a little bit, and then when I did score or drop the second one over the line, that's when the reality sunk in a bit more, and was like, far out, I'm one try away from equaling the great Matty Bowen, and then I was very lucky enough to score the equaling one at home here, and just the way the crowd, I guess the reception I got was pretty cool. Like, you don't really obviously hear much when you're on the field, but for some reason, I don't know why, but I could just hear Minty the ground announcer saying Kyle Feldt's now equalled 130 tries with the great Matthew Bowen, and yeah, and I just heard the crowd erupt, and I was like, fire, it gave me goosebumps. I was like, that's pretty cool, especially never ever would have thought that I'd score that many tries, let alone play as many games I've played. So, yeah, it's a little bit surreal, to be honest.
Yeah, well, there's no doubt. By the time this comes out, you might be standing on the record yourself. And when we do, we're going to get that ball that you score it with, and we're going to try to keep it for you. We're going to have to give it to one of the trainers or something so you can hold on to it.
I think if I do, when I do score it, I'll just tuck it straight under the wing and give it to Bear. So take it straight.
Take this, chuck it in your locker.
Take it in my locker. I'll sign it and
yeah.
away, so.
I love that, mate. We'll move on to without a doubt, probably one of the best seasons of your whole rugby league career, which was the 2015 season, and the Cowboys. We know what the run you guys did, mate. Let's just go straight to the grand final, because to me it was, you love seeing a team win the grand final for the first time, and you guys were able to do that. You're a local junior playing for the Cowboys in the grand final. Mate, talk to me about the lead up to the game. Was it one of the biggest weeks you've ever had?
Yeah, I was very fortunate to be in Townsville when the Cowboys made the grand final in 2005, and I was on the other side of the fence watching them, obviously as a fan, and looking at it now, like the town was buzzing, and then obviously being on the other side of the fence, being a player in 2015 was unreal. Like, the town was like going off its head. It was like the lead up, the drive to the airport. Like, we drove to the airport in a bus. We parked at 1300 Smile Stadium. Got a bus to the airport. There was fans lining the streets, wishing us good luck, signs, everything. And then getting to the airport, it was mayhem. Like, we had to walk. I felt like a celebrity, like walking through paparazzi, taking photos and everything. And then, and that was on a Monday, and we didn't play till Sunday. We went down obviously the week early because you had all this media commitments, and then obviously I think it was Thursday night. The footy show went on. And, like, I was thinking, this is mad. I'm on the footy show with Fatty Vorton.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, this is sick. Like, I'm arm's length from Fatty. Like, how cool is this? And met Delta Goodrum, Bon Jovi, like, all them, like, they're celebrities. I'm like, this is awesome. I'm rubbing shoulders. Like, how cool. And then, the lead up to the game day was the longest day of my life. Like, it felt like forever. And then the game started, and before we knew it, we were sitting on the middle of the field at like 1 o'clock in the morning with the trophy in front in the middle. I'm like, what has my life become?
Well, the game, in my opinion, was one of the best grand finals we've ever seen. Obviously, it's a local derby, 4X derby. It's the two big Queensland teams, the Cowboys versus the Broncos. And the game obviously went back and forth, and I want to know about the try, because you spoke before about some moments going your way. This was one that went your way, but you deserved it and earned it. I spoke to Morgo about it and asked his opinion, and obviously it was last play, mate. Talk me through the try and how you saw it happen.
Yeah, I was just dirty old wingers holding the paint, just doing my job. No, but it was like the try was mad, but I think the lead up to it was it was more pivotal moment in the game, because I remember, we'll talk about the try first. So the try, obviously, Morgo got it off Jono, obviously skipped across field, and all week prior to that, Morgo had been running around with the ball in one hand, like, I don't know what, practicing flick passes, and I don't know, for some reason he just kept doing it, and then it happened in the game, and he got on the outside of Jack Reed, on the outside of Anthony Milford. Juzzy O'Neill kind of dropped under him, and Jack Reed held, and then Corey Oates turned in, and he's flicked the ball out to me, and had like 10 metres to run with like 4 metres from the touchline, and for some reason I run really close to the touchline and put it down one hand.
Because Morgo said this, right? When I asked him about this on the podcast, he said to me, I was holding the ball around one hand at training, and the boys were giving me a bit of stick because I've got small hands and I don't usually do it.
He never does it.
So then to hear you say it as well.
Like, it's so weird, because I remember him at training all the time. In Sydney, we're in Sydney training, and he's running around the ball in one hand like he's never done. Like he said, he's never done it. And I was like, this is weird. And then obviously, like, it's obviously meant to happen, because in the game, in the situation that panned out, he had the ball in one hand and flicked it, and Feldy Buds put it down one hand in the corner, and Bob's your uncle.
Mate, unbelievable. I remember watching it, and I was like, yeah, wow, what a finish. And then Jono obviously has the kick to win it from the sideline. He misses. We go to Golden Point. The next, I guess, big involvement was the kickoff. Mate, you were known for some of these dangerous, swirling kickoffs for a couple of years there. Was this kickoff to Ben Hunt something you practiced quite often? Because I remember catching them thinking, man, it is scary catching these kickoffs. Because that, was a massive, massive moment in the game as well. Yeah,
so like you said, I used to practice them all the time. Like, at one stage I was timing how long from like the air time of them.
Yeah.
So kicking off to the time that you'd catch it down on the try line, and I reckon that was probably the sweetest kickoff I've ever hit.
How good's that?
Like, as soon as I kicked it, it felt good off my boot. As you know when you hit a good kick, it feels so nice. And I've kicked it, and I've just looked up, and it's gone that high. I'm like, holy, like, that's a good kick. And I've just started running back to the wing, just looking, watching. And then, I couldn't believe, like, Benny's bobbled it. And, I was just like, holy crap, like, we've got the chance to win this here. And I think it was like 3 or 4 plays later, Jono's nudged it straight through, and and that the next 14 days it just blurred.
So how was it? You guys come back to Townsville the next day.
Yeah.
Now, did it sink in that local junior, grew up in Townsville, has won the grand final for the Cowboys? Like, how was it post game in Townsville and being?
Yeah, I remember sitting in the sheds after it happened. I had my premiership ring on, just sitting there. I just happened to look down, and I'm at my hand. I'm like, I'm a NRL premier. Like, I'm an NRL premiership winner. Like, how good is this? I'm 25 years old, 24, 25, I think it was, 25. Looking up, I'm like, this is unreal. Like, I never thought I'd be a premiership winner this early in my career, or let alone have the opportunity to, like, get there at any stage. And I was over the moon. The sheds were packed full of supporters, family, friends. 4X goal tins everywhere, which was unreal. And then we went back to the hotel where we were staying in Homebush there, and I remember sitting in in the team room that we always sit in. We were just having a few drinks. Everyone, my family was still there. Peter Parr comes in and goes, "All right, boys, you got an hour to get ready. The bus is leaving." And I was like, "What?" Looked at my watch, and it was like 5:30 in the morning. I'm like, "Holy, where did the time go?" Like, you're just sitting there with your family, your friends, your mates, like, just having a beer, and then all of a sudden it's time to get on the plane. We've walked, obviously no one's had any sleep. We've just walked straight onto the bus, onto the plane, got home, and we had a reception, like a homecoming at Once Around a Smile Stadium. And on a good day, you'd get probably, 14,000 people to a home game. That day, I reckon there was 19,000 people in the stands at 12 o'clock in the day.
Yeah.
Like, just burning sun, beaming down on them. Like, it was mad. We were in the western side, just out of the tunnel. They had a little stage set up. The whole field from, I guess, the 10 metre, like the tap line, all the way across the other side was packed. Up in the grandstand, halfway up was full. I was like, what the hell? These people are... That's when I really realised that Townsville loves the Cowboys. Like, they would go out of their day on a Monday to come see the Cowboys after a grand final win. It was pretty cool.
That's awesome. And then after that, the Vegas trip. I don't have to say too much about Vegas, but obviously it was a good time with the boys. He's had a pretty decent crew who went over there.
Yeah, there was 17 of us that went over.
Oh, mate, that's incredible.
It was, I think only one player didn't come that played the grand final, Jimmy Tamau, because he hurt himself in the lead up in our celebrations, unfortunately. But Vegas, mate, that's unreal. Like that place, it's crazy. I loved every minute of it. Just looking back at it, it's something that I will never forget. Like going over there with 17 of your best mates, played footy all year, all striving for one thing, and to be able to do it and then go on like a little 4-day adventure, I'll say, was unreal. And we're very lucky we stayed at the Bellagio, so we were lavished. It was unreal. And then some of the things that we done, I would never have been able to do in my lifetime if I didn't go with the people I went with.
Yeah, yeah.
And the connections that some of the boys had over there to get us into some stuff that like I said, I'd never be able to do. Some of the stuff you see on movies, and I was like, this is unreal.
Yeah,
like,
I'm with them.
Like I'm just an entourage here. I'm just walking with these guys, like, and we're going VIP everywhere, and like, yeah, it was honestly, I can't even explain how fun that time of my life was. Like I said, that 14 days after the grand final is literally a blur. Like, I reckon out of the 14 days, I didn't drink twice. Like, it's just
14 days is a lot.
It's crazy. Like, and you don't even think about like what you're doing because you're still on such a high.
Yeah.
And once that happens, like you come back to reality. Like, holy shit, I need to start pulling my head in now. Footy's only just around the corner.
Man, that's insane. We'll move on to the next huge, I guess, part of your career, which was in 2021. You made your debut for the Queensland Maroons. Was it always something you had to dream of, or always something you wanted to do, was to play Origin? To get that first Origin jersey. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, I think every kid wants to, or every NRL player wants to play Origin. It's the pinnacle of our sport, I see it as. And I was going back a step. Before 2021, I got the call from Kevy to play in 2020, and I had like
you got injured, didn't you?
Yeah, I had a real bad groin injury that I'd been like plagued with throughout the whole year, and I ended up having to talk to our physio and just said, like, is it worth playing like the extra 3 games? And because it was in the end of the year, that Origin period, I could have like prolonged the surgery that I ended up having and played, but the pros and cons of it weren't ideal. Like, I would have been set back in the preseason, would have had a shortened preseason, wouldn't have got enough rehab into my groin before round 1. And I remember talking to Kevin, crying on the phone about like saying, no, I can't play, because that was something that I'd been dreaming of, and I'd always been so close for so many years. Going in, I think it's 2016 I went in as 18th man, 2017 I was in there, 18, and then 19, and then to get the call 2020 was like, yep, I'm in, and then I just had to bail out, unfortunately. And then 21 Greeny called me. He was a coach. He called me up and said to come in as 18th man because KP was under an injury cloud, and he didn't obviously play, so I got pulled into the wing, and Val went to fullback, and the game was at home in Townsville. This is the first Origin game played in Townsville, and like I said, like there's moments in your career that are meant to happen, and that one obviously was meant to happen for me, and to be able to make my debut, or not only for my NRL debut, but my Origin debut in Townsville, was pretty cool. And the game, we got pumped, it was like 50-6 or something, but I remember like the lead up to it, driving past Flinders Street in the bus, like it was packed. My family were down there, showing me photos, everyone, like there was that many people with Feldt shirts on, like it was so cool to see, like the amount of support from, I guess, my hometown was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome, mate. Where's the jersey? You got the jersey hanging up at home?
No,
Surely
it's not even framed yet.
You need to get that done.
Yeah, no, it's not framed. I've only got one jersey framed, or 2 jerseys framed, and pretty slack.
Yeah.
But yeah, I gave my game worn jersey to my dad. I don't know why, but I gave him that one, and then I got the other one because you get obviously 2.
Yep.
So I got one sitting, the thing's still in the drawer at home with game 2 one. So yeah, I don't know. It's just, one of those things in life where you want to get it done, but I just haven't had time, haven't really put much thought and effort into it.
Yep, it'll happen one day. Mate, we'll move on to a couple of questions before we wrap it up. I guess nowadays, you're a veteran of the game. You're nudging on 200 NRL games and NRL games for the Cows. Mate, do you think about the game differently now to, when you first started? I guess being a veteran who's played, for over 10 years?
Yeah, definitely don't overthink the game as much anymore. Knowing that I think I've played like 194 or 5 games. I'm not too sure, but like looking back at it now, early on in the career, I'd always overplay a game in my head, like just get super nervous and anxious leading up to the game day, and then game day would come around and I wouldn't sleep during game day. I'd just be buzzing. And now I'm like, I still get nervous. Even now, I still get nervous. I don't know why. I still get nervous to the day, till we run out. As soon as we run out and the kickoff goes, I'm sweet. But I still get little butterflies in my gut and that. And I think it's just the feeling of the unknown. Like you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know the outcome of the game. You just know what you can do and what you can produce yourself. So I think that's probably the best thing about it all. Looking back at it now, is like I still get the nerves and the butterflies. Like,
yep.
I think when they go, I think it might be time to hang up.
Yeah, I think it will definitely mean something to you. You're still getting that. Mate, what do you love about playing in the NRL? What do you and everything, training, being an NRL player? What do you love about it?
I think just the mateship and everything. I've spoken to a lot of people, past players now, because I am obviously on the back end of my career, and ask them what do they miss most, and they say the camaraderie and that and all that sort of stuff, the mateship. And looking at it, like when they say that, I look at it and I think, yeah, that's true. You spend near on every day of the year with your best mates at training, and then playing NRL, like it's my dream job. I don't see it as a job, see it as a hobby. It's something that I get paid to do. I enjoy it. I get to spend a lot of time at home with my family. I'm very fortunate with that. Like I've got to see my daughter grow, which is pretty cool. And obviously we're expecting another one in 4 weeks. So whenever this does come out, I might have 2 little mongrels running around. So, but yeah, I'm very lucky. Well, we're very lucky that we can spend such a bulk of our kids' childhood watching them grow up and be a part of it. Whereas a lot of people, I guess, work out in the mines, they work 2 on, 1 off or something like that. They miss a majority of their kids' upbringing, and I'm very fortunate, and I do not take that for granted. I spend as much time as I can with my daughter, and just be there for her. Like my dad was always there for me, my mum was always there for me when I was growing up. So I just want to be a good role model for her, and this job gives me every opportunity to do that. Yeah,
I love that. And you just said you're a dad of 1, just about to be 2, mate. How have you found parenthood? Do you think it's changed your perspective on football and life in general?
Yeah, definitely life. You think you have your life sorted until you have a kid. You think everything's going rosy, and then all of a sudden you get thrown this small human that you have no idea what they're like, what they're going to be like, what they like, and like you don't even get a crash course manual on them. You have to find out everything about them. Like it's like making a new friend, but this friend is for you for life, and it's something that I cherish every day. I wake up, and even though there's nights where I resent her because she's waking up, and as soon as I open my eyes and see her, I'm like, everything's all good. Like I don't mind. You can annoy me, but you're mine, and I appreciate everything you do for me. And on the footy side of things, it's good because I'm gonna have memories of her coming to watch me play. Gonna have photos.
Those photos you posted the other day were actually pretty cool. Yeah.
I posted a photo of Macy 12 months ago, walking around the stadium, and then obviously round 1 again this year. And the way to see how much she's grown in 12 months is ridiculous. So, like I said, the photos I'm gonna have and the memories I'm gonna have, looking back at it, and she probably won't remember it, but that's probably one of the reasons why I want to keep playing, is just to make memories with them.
Would we spoke before about studying and doing things outside of football, and I'm someone who I love to have a balance of football and family and life outside of football. I mean, what does Kyle Feldt enjoy doing outside of footy?
Obviously, like we touched on at the start, I did do a little course of storytelling. That I'm looking at doing another, a media course to obviously do more podcasts and that sort of stuff. But apart from that sort of stuff, I don't really like studying. I've done 12 years of it. It's enough for me. I wasn't an A grade scholar at school, so wasn't big on that. I was more or less going to school for lunches. That's it. But now, outside of footy, I love playing golf.
Yep.
As you know, we play a lot of golf.
Yep.
I love me lawn. Love lawn care. Mow me lawn twice a week.
I see this post on Instagram or something. And it's like when the man turns 30, he like loves like golf, smoking, or the lawn. It's like they choose one of those. So you love all three of them.
I'm the epitome of the 30-year-old. So, like you said, I do love my smoking. I smoke everything: briskets, beef ribs, pork ribs, lambs. Last night we had a roast pork with crackling, so sorted the wife out with that, which is pretty cool. But yeah, very fortunate that I do enjoy cooking, but I enjoy eating it more often than not. So
Beauty, mate. We've got 2 questions to go, mate. You're off contract now, mate. What are your thoughts around that? Just sort of taking it day by day, just sort of things will happen, and you know, whatever happens.
32 years old, Chad. I'm enjoying my time being an NRL player. I don't know what the future holds, but all I know is that I'm playing pretty decent footy, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, I'm in no rush to look forward to the future. I want to live in the now, and like I said, enjoy like the mateship and camaraderie I have at the moment.
Awesome, mate. This is my last question for you, because you know I am much like you, closer to the end than the start. What is Kyle Feldt's ideal job post-war? And yeah,
ideal job,
dream job,
realistically, realistic dream job.
Yeah,
would have to be probably like a radio announcer.
Yep.
Just get on there for Townsville.
Like mornings or afternoons or
definitely mornings.
Yeah,
I'd like to be
big morning guy.
Yeah, I am a big morning guy. Not when it comes to golf though.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, definitely wake up in the mornings and just give the listeners, I guess, an enjoyment and something to listen to on the way to work. Like just be a part of their daily travels, which would be pretty cool. Like obviously can tell a few yarns of my career and of my NRL career and just give them an insight of what it's like to be an NRL player, but more or less just to be there with them on the way to work. And I guess something funny happens on the radio, they can relate to it and just talk about life that people obviously can relate to at home life as well. So that's something that I want to do. And I don't know, I just, like I said, I enjoy talking crap. I enjoy talking absolute rubbish to people, and people stop me in the streets and just say, we didn't realise how down to earth you are. I said, mate, I'm from Townsville. From Durigan. What more do you want?
Well, mate, we'll finish it up on that, mate. I really appreciate you coming on. Your story speaks for itself, and it's still going, still not finished, mate. You've got so much left in the tank. You're playing great footy at the moment, mate. You're a great dad, and you're a great teammate, so I really appreciate you coming on.
Thank you very much, Chad. And I do have the players merch on too, so I can't wait for the new merch to drop, mate.
Yeah,
all right. Support for the boys.
Appreciate that, mate. Well, thanks very much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed the episode, please make sure you do subscribe, drop us a like, comment. Make sure you don't forget, head over to playersgolfclub.com.au. You can shop all the latest merchandise, membership. We really appreciate it, and we'll see you guys on the next episode. Let's go.